discovery. So, as some of us will have known, will have read on the flyers and all the invites, the objectives of this webinar. So, but then I'll still have to read it out for the purpose of others who might have missed it one way or the other. All right. The objectives of this webinar includes the following. It stimulates research interest to stimulate research interest in African medical students right from undergraduate years. Record at least record at least 10 publications in international peer-reviewed journals before the end of the year, and to record at least 10 abstract publications in international conferences, and also to provide funding for top research proposals. So those are few of our objectives for this webinar. So right now, I'm going to pass the mic to the chairperson for Scomer to give us an opening remark. Please, you have the floor. Mr. Chair, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. All right. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed participants, and distinguished guests. My name is Shefiu Adeshina Usman, and I'm the chairperson of Standing Committee on Medical Education and Research of the Federation of African Medical Students Association. A very warm welcome to the commencement of our much-awaited research training series with the theme from writing to publication. As we all know, that research experience is a major selected criteria for admission and scholarship in top-tier universities globally. Hence, the FAMSA Scomer Research Training is a month-long program for all African medical students in order to prepare them for postgraduate opportunities and contribute to scientific knowledge on diseases in Africa. Today marks the beginning of an exciting and transformative journey in research, from research methodology to data analysis, from ethical considerations to effective communication of research findings. We have assembled a team of seasoned experts, mentors, and facilitators who will guide us on these enlightening paths, offering their wisdom and experience to empower us on our research journeys. Also, graduates will be divided into different groups of maximum of 10 medical students and a mentor for 2 months mentorship in order to implement knowledge gained and publish before the end of the year. I encourage each and every one of you to actively engage in discussions, share your insights, and challenge conventional wisdom. Let us embrace the spirit of curiosity, for it is curiosity that kindles the flames of innovation and discovery. As we embark on this research training series today, let us do so with an open mind, receptive heart, and a determination to make the most of every learning opportunity. And let us seek not just knowledge, but wisdom, the ability to apply that knowledge with discernment and empathy for the betterment of society. I extend my gratitude to all the organizers, our sponsors, the supporters, our speakers, who have made this training series possible. Your unwavering commitment to promoting research and learning is commendable and deeply appreciated. And once again, I extend my warmest welcome to each one of you. Let us embark on this research training series with enthusiasm, determination, and a shared commitment to excellence. Thank you, and let us begin this transformative journey together. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson for Scomer. Right now, we're going to dive straight into the research for the main course for the day. But before that, I would like to remind everyone here to get their books, their pens, their jotters, because after this training, there is going to be, before you can access your certificate or before you can be certified, there will be a sort of an assessment. So you guys, I think you guys it will be better for you guys to at least pay very much attention, get a book and a pen to jot things down, and then watch this webinar over and over again on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much. So as of now, um, our first um, speaker would be Daniel Otobo, and he's going to be taking the topic, what is research, looking into what is the scientific research, types of research, peculiarity of each discipline, global health. But before I give him the floor to speak, I would like to read out his bio. So here it goes. Dr. Daniel Otobo. His first medical public lecture was on management of increased intracranial pressure from traumatic and non-traumatic causes in emergency situations. He is a registered member of the World Medical Association, WMA, and the Junior Doctors Network, GDN, branch of it. He is a member of the Global Surgery Working Group of the World Medical Association Junior Doctors Network. He is a member of the African Federation of Emergency Medicine, AFEM. He is a performer with skills in dancing, singing, poetry. He has published poetry works nationally and internationally. He has won awards most such as most talented medical student in Bingham University, Dohan's most talented medical student in Nigeria, and was on the top 10 finalists globally in the first category of the World Youth NTB's competition. He also won an all expense paid scholarship to the International Global Surgical Symposium, IGSS, Colombia in 2020. He was on the four-man team that won the Innovation to Action Global Health Challenge, the Mending Minds. He had a fully funded weeks-long certified training in SRHR at Ghent University in Belgium, and also certified in trauma evaluation and accident management by the American College of Surgeons. He also has certificates in BTLS, ATLS, and ACTLS. He has graduated from Bingham University in 2022. He had his housemanship training at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, Bauchi State, Nigeria, in 2022-2023. Currently working as a medical officer with the State House Medical Center, Abuja, Nigeria. Also, he is a global surgery fellows with Operation Smile International. He is an aspiring neurosurgeon. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Daniel Otobo. Sir, you have the floor.
Hmm? Please, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Please, I'm kind of hearing myself. I don't know. Okay, it has stopped anyway. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm actually very happy to be here this evening. When I sent I was told that I was invited to speak at this program, I was wondering what possible thing could I be contributing to the program. But I'll do my best to share the little knowledge I have in research with you and try and help you with whatever challenges you may be facing. However, I'm going to be rather fast as I have another meeting by 5 p.m. So by 5:10 I should be off. But I'll be running through 2 PowerPoints. Please, permission to share my screen. Can I go ahead?
Yes, you can, sir.
Okay, because I'm told only the host can share in this meeting. That is what I was asking. Sorry, I still lack the ability to share the screen. If it's possible, please can I be made co-host just for the period of sharing my screen, please? Hello, is the host there, please?
Yes, sir. Maybe you should just continue. You'll be made a co-host very soon.
Oh, okay. But anyway, so I'll just continue from the PowerPoint then. But people will be unable to follow. Anyway, while we're still walking around sharing the screen, I want to first ask a question. Is there anybody here who has published a research paper or worked on a research project? Is there any of the participants here that's currently working on any research project? Please, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Daniel David Otobo. I'm going to be talking briefly on this PowerPoint. I have two PowerPoints. On this PowerPoint, I'm going to be talking briefly about introduction to research, how to identify research gaps, and how you can make your research topics. And then I'm going to fly to another slide that I'm going to literally just brush through, nothing too deep, on how you can convert your ideas and formulated research topics into actual research projects and research papers. So the first thing you need to know is normally people say the best way to predict the primarily research is defined as a process of systematic inquiry that entails the collection of data, documentation of critical information, and analysis and interpretation of that data and information in accordance with sustainable methodologies set by specific professional fields and academic disciplines. This definition was given by the Hampshire College. Let me break it down. In more relatable terminologies, research is just basically looking for information in a systematic manner. And when you find this information, you have to know how to interpret it. And when you've interpreted it, you need to know how to like present this interpretation. So first, you need to be searching for something in a systematic way, then now find a way to interpret, to analyze and interpret the data you have found during your search. And this process must be in accordance with international set methodologies. Now, something that's very critical in research is before you conduct a research, you need to be able to think like a researcher. So if you're able, how do researchers think? A researcher is actually looking for a solution to a problem or searching for a problem. I think it's going to be funny if we are searching for a solution that does not have a problem to dictate it. So researchers actually search for problems or search for solutions to problems. In this chart, I'm looking at it from the perspective of the researcher searching for a problem. So we are going to be using diabetes in children as a schematics. Think how the researchers think. So what is the problem? You've been noticing a lot of children have what? Diabetes. And then subsequently, you've noticed a lot of children have diabetes. And then subsequently, you now want to conduct a research to find out, okay, what's increasing the rate of children coming down with diabetes in our community? So you have to think about the problem and the factors that affect it. So first and foremost is, what are the factors that affect diabetes in children? Do their parents have diabetes? Or was this child born with a genetic deficiency or was there like some other problem or some other factor? Is it a community thing? So that's what I mean by think about the problem and the factors that affect it. So first you thought about the problem, next you thought about the factors that affect it. Then the third thing you do is you develop a problem statement. Your problem statement is not really um now we're talking of diabetes in children. So when you develop a problem statement, it's not going to be why is the rate of diabetes in children very high in Ikorodu? No. Your problem statement is going to be pointing towards the general aim, which is diabetes in children. However, working through the roots of the factors that affect this. So, problem statements. Many children have been found to have diabetes in Ikorodu, semicolon. I. What is the relationship between diet and diabetes in these children? I. Relationship between diabetes in their parents or siblings and diabetes in newborn children. I. Relationship between or demographic relationship as regards male and female coming down with diabetes. So now you are looking at factors that may or may not relate with diabetes. It's around these 3 points you are going to form your problem statement. At the end of the day, your research is meant to answer your problem statement. So that's why this part is important. So that when someone asks you, why is the rate of diabetes in children high? You say, based on the research that was conducted in Ikorodu in Lagos State, we found out that the children that actually come down with diabetes are females, and most of them have parents or siblings that have diabetes. Very few of them were actually born with it. This statement has 3 clauses in it, and these 3 clauses were things that formed our problem statement when we thought about a problem. Now that you have a problem statement, you now have to come down to what are the practices where you are. So this one is very important when you are doing a clinical research. If you found a problem statement in a clinical research, you have to find out what the standard of care is, like for diabetes in children, where you are, so that you can you can bring your research home. You can make it more Ikorodu-ish. Now, you now have to design a study. You have to design a study. Like now you're a researcher, you're thinking, you have thought about a problem, you've made a problem statement, you've been able to relate it to home. For example, if there are like 4 communities in Ikorodu, you conduct researches in these 4 different communities to find out if the incidence of diabetes in children is more prevalent in one region than the other. That is another way to bring it more to the house. Now, when you now make a study design has to be a method that seeks to answer the problem statement. I cannot be looking for a relationship between diabetes in parents and diabetes in children, and then I'm now making a study design that comes with a malaria test kit. Unless I'm mad, that shouldn't be. So your study design will have to be something more relatable. Now, study designs is very important. Why is that? Is because it's your study design that you now write down as your methodology, and it has to be precise. So that in case I want to replicate this research in Otupo, all I have to do is just carry the exact study design you use, change the community, maintain the study population, conduct the same research, and then I'm now going to publish my research. And in my discussion section, I'm going to say that as against what was found in Ikorodu, children in Otupo actually get their own diabetes from birth and not from their parents or and then not any relations to their parents or their siblings, that kind of thing. That's why your methodology is important. If I cannot replicate your research, then your methodology has a problem. Your study design, if it's not designed well enough to answer the questions being asked in your problem statement, look for the nearest dustbin and drop that study design inside. What do I mean? I conducted a study in relation to COVID-19 vaccine and the effect on pregnant women. This is a quantitative research in a way, but some other part of the study is qualitative. What's the difference? Quantitative, just think about it as quantity, countable. Why qualitative? Think about it as quality, the quality of something. So if I want to count, if I want to look at the effect of the relationship between parents having diabetes and their children coming down with diabetes, this is more of what I'll call a quantitative research, in the sense that if there are 10 parents in Ikorodu, by 10 parents, I mean like 20 human beings, 1 man and 1 man, 1 man and 1 man, 10 of them. If there are 10 parents in Ikorodu, that at least one of them has diabetes and all their children have diabetes, then I'll say that there's a 100% correlation. This quantity now. But if it has to do with caring for diabetic children, now I will have to start asking the mothers, how do you care for your child? I'll start documenting. Some dress the wounds, some give them this type of, that's quality. I'm trying to exemplify. I hope you are getting what I'm saying. So your study design mostly is either designed as quality or quantity. This thinking like a researcher is basically just the background of everything. Now, ideas on research topics. As a researcher in Africa, you can research on anything as pertains health. You can actually research on the effect of increased electricity bill on healthcare in Nigeria. I am not ashamed to say, okay, this call is being recorded, so I can't say it here because I can be arrested due to the place I'm working. But there are hospitals I've worked in that middle of very important surgeries, they took lights, and all of us just stopped there and were waiting. The last, okay, the last time such an event happened, we were in the theater, we were suctioning, and the person was seriously bleeding, and then they took light and the suctioning machine stopped working. I think the only thing we did not use to pack the blood to stop the bleeding that day was our theater gown we were wearing. So trust me, in relation to electricity and healthcare in Nigeria or Africa is a very important topic. The next chart there is patient record. I'm sure you know, yeah, okay, I don't know, but I've gone to hospitals that I've been to. I mean, I was just in this hospital 2 months ago, and now they're telling me they can't find my food, that they can't find my records. What's the impact on patient record on patient care, delay to care? These are wonderful research ideas, wonderful research topics. Travel medicine, global medicine. What will you relate? Is there a relation between climate and medicine? All these charts here, just looking at this picture, you can actually think about different relations on how this thing relates to medicine. Even what's the impact of research in medicine, seasonal medicine, for example. There's a time in the year in northeastern Nigeria when Lassa fever becomes very prominent and you start seeing the rats everywhere. So you can research seasonal endemicity in Africa or seasonal endemicity in a region in Africa or seasonal endemicity in your country. These are research ideas, healthcare financing, collaboration, etc., etc. Now, let's double back into problem statements. Remember, we're using diabetes. I only put that previous chart so that as we're moving forward, though I'm using diabetes as an example, you can mentally be using other topics that are of interest to you. Now, when you've made a problem statement, you think, what is the problem? Where is this problem coming from? How is this problem affecting me? When you're able to wrap your mind around your problem statement and your study design, you now have to understand what is the scope of your study. For example, you are working in a local government area where we're using Ikorodu. So an appropriate study will have to answer the identified question of scope of study. You cannot be researching on children in Ikorodu and then you are now going to share questionnaires for children in Lekki or Victoria Island or Banana Island. They don't relate. Your scope of study does not necessarily have to be every single child in Ikorodu, but it has to be in Ikorodu, calculated in such a way that your study population, or your sample size is scientifically and statistically representative of your study population, so that you don't get confused. Your study population right now is children in Ikorodu coming to diabetic clinic. Your sample size, if there are 1,000 children in your diabetic clinic, your sample size cannot be 1,000. You will die with stress. Your sample size is something that will be calculated using a formula, Cochrane formula. I'm sure they'll teach you later in the research program. And most likely to research on 1,000 children, your sample size might be something around 250. So your study population is 1,000 children, but your sample size will be around 250, something like that. Now, relevance of your study. If it is that nobody dies of diabetes, in fact, the people that have the diabetes, they become rich, they used to grow well, nothing happens. Your study is irrelevant. But right now, people are dying. You are trying to create awareness. You are trying to create intervention. So your study has to be relevant to the scientific community. So you need to think, who are those that are going to benefit from this work? The importance of this particular section is it teaches you what conference to submit your papers to, what journals to submit your paper to. There are journals that when you submit your paper, if you submit this paper to a diabetic journal, for example, if they charge you maybe $100 or $200, they've reviewed your paper, they see it's very good, and they've accepted to publish it. They now send you an email, they have to pay $100 or $200. If you tell them, see, sorry, please, I don't have much money, I'm a student, all I have is $50, or I'm a youth copper like Dr. Daniel, all we're enjoying is 33,000 naira, which is about $35 currently. Seeing that your journal, seeing that your paper is very good, they'll go ahead and publish it like that. They will not want you to, they will not want to lose you. So look for the relevance of your study. Don't forget, the car in the junkyard is useless, but if you carry it to a vintage shop, it is worth something. The relevance of your study, look for who your study is relevant to. Discuss with a specialist in that field. Apply to attend conferences in that field. Submit your journal, your papers to journals that are in that field. Shotibo. Now, research question. How do you investigate precisely the problem statement outlined? I think I've said this before. You are trying to investigate the relationship between parents having diabetes and children having diabetes, the relationship between nutrition and diabetes, the relationship between and the prevalence of children being born with diabetes, stuff like that. So if you want to investigate these things, your questionnaire will have to state like, are you your relationship to this child? The options will be father or mother. They'll tick it. What year was this child born? They'll tick it. Do you have diabetes? No. Does anybody in your family have diabetes? No. Does any of your children have diabetes? Yes or no? That type of thing. That is how you are going to design this study. Was this child born with diabetes or was it acquired? That type of thing. What type of diet do you give your child? These are examples of questionnaires that are tightly streamlined to this research we are talking about in relating to diabetes and children. Now, when you've designed your questionnaire, do you understand? You have your problem statement. The next important thing you need is the background for your study. The background for your study, first, you have to personally read through different literatures and decide which papers you want to be featured in your study. It is when you have decided which papers that you feel are relevant to this study you are conducting, that is when you will now arrange those papers and use them for your literature review. It is not everybody in Rome that is a Roman. It is not every paper on diabetes that must be cited in your study. If you see papers on diabetes, look at it. First and foremost, inclusion criteria for your papers in this literature review. Is this paper on diabetes having to do with children in the world, in Africa, or in Ikorodu or in Lagos? Is this paper on diabetes having to do with relationship between familial hereditary traits in diabetes? Is this paper having to do with nutrition and diabetes? Is this paper having to do with congenital diabetes? If it is not, brother, sister, even if it's your professor that wrote that paper, it is not relevant. Do not join people to waste energy. Literature review is a very, very systematic way of analyzing the current published research and available material on research. So when you're conducting a literature review, there's something known as the funnel system. This is a colloquial term. Now, it's me that formed it. There's nothing like funnel system, but I want to use it to help you understand. Start from a large perspective and come towards what you want, like a funnel. So globally, it has been found out that diabetes is very prevalent among young children, especially those who are born in upper middle and high income societies. In the world, it was found that in America, there is a relationship between parents and their children acquiring diabetes, but not being born with it. However, in Australia, so and so researcher found that there was a 60-something prevalence in parents having diabetes and their children having it at birth. But here in Africa, diabetes is a rising trend. It has been found that type 2 diabetes is more prevalent in Africa, in Nigeria precisely. If you understand what I did, I went from the world to Nigeria. That's the funnel system. You have to keep it consistent. Diabetes, children, hereditary. It has to keep singing. If you use another example, you are looking at irregular menstruation or infertility in middle-aged women. Infertility is a very serious problem. I don't think you understand what problem infertility is until you have a mother-in-law that really, really, really wants a grandchild very, very quickly. And after the first year, nothing has happened. In our clinic, we have people that come, they've married 15 months ago, they've not gotten problem. Their heart's already doing bing bing. So if you want to do a literature review on infertility, for example, and the relationship between infertility and irregular menstruation, you can start from what? Globally. And then you come towards Nigeria. You can relate it to irregular causes of irregular menstruation. That is what your problem statement will be made around. That's just example. So first, don't forget, background of your study is first psychological, it's first informal. You randomly just read through abstracts. You can go on PubMed, you can go on Medline, you can go on ResearchGate, you can go on Academia, you can go on Scopus. Just type in diabetes in children. Bam, look through the abstracts. Anyone that does not have to do with diabetes in children the way you want it, or relating to hereditary or nutrition or congenital diabetes, just don't add that. I think later on in the research, someone is going to talk to you people about research programs, computer programs. But I just want to rough mention one here known as Zotero. If you are doing your literature review, please, I'm sorry, the background is noisy. Hello. Anyway, if you are doing your literature review, please, I hope you can still hear me, irrespective of the noise.
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay,
Yes, we can.
Okay. Now, let's continue driving. If you are doing your literature review, I don't expect you to really be writing down the name of every research you are seeing while you are scanning through. I don't expect you to write down the name of every single research. I don't expect you to write down the name of every single research you are viewing when you are scanning through your literature review. So I would advise you to download an app known as Zotero. When you are scanning through like PubMed, for example, any abstract you see tallies with what you are researching, just click on it, highlight it, and right click, then click on send to Zotero. What Zotero does is it obtains that the research paper, it obtains everything. It saves it under that your topic, literature review for pediatrics diabetic research. And then Zotero automatically also keeps the reference in another Harvard, Vancouver, or upper system aside, waiting for you when you are ready to write your literature review. But just so that we don't lose focus, let's continue. We finish with the background. Now, the preliminary work. Now that you have your problem statement and you've been able to identify the gap and you have your methodology, you are ready to get ethical clearance. So this is what's known as what? The preliminary work. So the first thing you need to know in your preliminary work is, first, you need to write down a brief introduction. Your introduction does not necessarily have to start citing many researches. It can just be half a page or 1-page introduction. Then you state your objectives or your problem statements and your methodology, the method in which you intend to carry out this research. That is one document. The second document, you have to bring the questionnaire you plan to use. That is the second document. The third document, you write an application for ethical clearance to carry out that research. Then, can you still hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Now, what you now do is you carry the application, the introduction, objective, methodology paper, and you also now join your questionnaire paper, and you staple everything and take it to an ethical committee. These are the 3 documents needed to get an ethical clearance. I would advise you, do not title your application for ethical clearance as ethical clearance to conduct a research as regards diabetes in children. I would advise you, title it application to conduct a research on prevalence of diabetes. Leave it wide open. Why do I say that? At the end of the day, when you start conducting this research, the Holy Spirit might just touch you and you want to design another questionnaire that has to do with diabetes. Maybe now looking at diabetes in reproductive age women, so that you don't have to start going back to apply for ethical clearance again. All you just have to do is do a new literature review, make that questionnaire and share the questionnaire. That ethical clearance already covers, because it's ethical clearance for research in diabetes prevalence or diabetes incidence. Do you understand? But if you streamlined it to diabetes in children, there is a problem. You would need to get a new ethical clearance if you want to do any other research in that community concerning diabetes. Let's be moving, sorry. Now, common types of research you need to think of are case studies, cohort studies, short communications, quantitative analysis, qualitative analysis, review or meta-analytical studies. Number 1 is usually the easiest. Number 6 is the hardest. Many people see number 3 as the easiest, but anyway, it depends. But in the ranking of importance in research, number 1 is less important than number 2. Number 2 is less important than number 3. Number 3 is less important than 4. Somehow 4 and 5 have the same ranking, but number 6 is the highest. By the time you are doing meta-analytical studies, oh God, you're like a god. Meta-analytical studies are like, is another high level. I'm just here to do introduction in research anyway. But okay, roughly, case study is a short research used to draw people's attention to rare cases. For example, if you do prostate-specific antigen test, if it is more than 4, your heart should start doing bing bing. If it is 10, brother, there's a chance that you're already having cancerous prostate. But this is the international standard. 4 to 10 is known as moderate risk. Some months back, I had a patient that had 100. We did biopsy. There was nothing. We didn't cite any cancerous, any dysplastic cells. The man still signed consent for what? Complete prostatectomy. And then when we brought out the prostate, we sent it to histology lab. We made multiple slices from the head to toe of that prostate. We viewed everything under microscope. Heightened vision. This man did not have prostate cancer at all. At 100 nanogram per DL of PSA, when the risk for cancer is 4 to 10, this man had 100 and he didn't have cancer. Now, that is a rare case. I've recently written a research paper, a case study on that case. That's how case studies work. Cohort study is more like a follow-up. It can be of a rare case. It can be of a new treatment. It can be of a particular presentation of a new case of multiple people from like, it's a longitudinal study, usually from when they presented, they are documenting what is happening up to when they are discharged or when they die or when they decide to send against medical advice. That is the simplest way I can put cohort study. Short communication is just really maybe using 5 or 4 references to give an opinion about a particular research topic. Quantitative and qualitative analysis, I think I've spoken about those earlier. Like this diabetic stuff now is quantitative analysis. Why review a meta-analytical study is usually a research that has to do with looking at other epidemiological studies that have already been published. That is, epidemiological studies are quantitative studies or qualitative studies that have already been published on a particular topic. So, if you don't want to research in Ikorodu, many people have researched in Ikorodu and everybody is saying different things. What will you now do? You will go online, download all the papers that have to do with diabetes and children that have been published as regards Ikorodu is concerned, and then use a systematic method to filter these papers and make your own conclusion. Based on all these studies that have been published, I can conclude that there's no diabetes in Ikorodu. Stuff like that. Now, how do you know which research paper you are meant to work on? You need to ask yourself, why am I doing this study? What's the aim of this study? Where am I carrying it out? When am I to carry it out? Okay, why am I doing this study? I'm doing this study to research on the prevalence of diabetes. That is what? Quantitative. I am doing this study to research on the quality of care of diabetic patients. That is qualitative, quality. I am doing this study because one diabetic patient presented to my clinic with what? A new presentation that has never been seen before in diabetes. That is cohort study. I am doing this study that is case study, If you are doing this study to follow up a new treatment regimen, and you are trying this new treatment regimen on about 5 patients, that is a cohort study or a clinical trial, stuff like that. Aim of the study and the rest will like point you also towards what study you are conducting, and that way it will also help you with your study design and methodology. Sorry, I'm rushing, please. Like I said, I have a meeting by 5, so I'll be leaving here by 5:10. The second slide I'm going to share with you people is self-explanatory. It's just like this one, but a little bit more in-depth explanation. I'll share it with the with the organizers of this program. Now, the basic structure of a proposal. Okay, I've already spoken about basic structure of a proposal. However, like let me just reemphasize. This is universally accepted and often have little variations per journals, countries, continents, or research type in question. Your proposal has to have a title, an introduction, aim or objectives, and what? A proposed methodology. Like I said, your introduction does not necessarily have to be your literature review. It can be something very brief, half a page or 1 page. That's for your proposal. If you are doing your final year research, if you go and write half a page for your final year research, I'll send you money for tissue when you are crying. Now, however, as per the topic and for time, we'll be focusing on deriving research titles or research topics. Now, we've roughly spoken about what researches are, introduction to research and the rest. But a lot of people, they know they want to research on diabetes. They know they want to research on irregular menstruation. They know they want to research on menstrual hygiene. They know they want to research on fertility. They want to research on orthopedic responses to trauma. They want to research on different things, but they do not know how to formulate the research title. And then you just see them sitting down or sending messages to me to please help them with research title. This is how a research title is formulated. It is simple. There are three major parts in your research title. One, the reason for your study, more like a general reason. The area of your study. This is the literal location, population-wise, and the possible study population or size. For example, we've been talking about children and diabetes in Ikorodu. If I wanted to formulate a study title in that perspective, I'll say something like a study into the prevalence of type 1 diabetes mellitus in children living in Ikorodu. Now, the reason for the study, I'm looking at the prevalence of type 1 diabetes mellitus. The area for the study is Ikorodu, and the possible population are what? Children. Another example here is, don't forget, we're looking at reason, area, and possible study population. Now, another example here is what? A study on risk factors for diabetes mellitus among middle-aged civil servants in Sudan. The reason for the study is what? Risk factors of diabetes mellitus. The area of the study is Sudan, and the population are what? Middle-aged civil servants. The last example is this. A study on urinary tract infections amongst female medical students at the University of Meribah. Reason, studying into prevalence or incidence of urinary tract infection. The area of the study is what? Meribah, and the possible population size are female medical students. In this presentation, we have had a brief introduction into research, how to develop research ideas and find research gaps, and how to build up your research ideas, problems that are identified, or the gaps noticed into research works. Now, something that's in the objectives for this study is peculiarities to different disciplines. I kind of rough touched on this when I was talking about the different ideas. Sorry. Yes. Now, something you need to know is there are different disciplines in medicine. When you are dealing with clinical practice, for example, what is peculiar to clinical practice is what? Quantitative research. Mixed research, rather, mixed. You want to look at the quality of care and the prevalence in terms of outcome of care. So when you are dealing with cardiologists, hepatologists, and you're dealing with all these internal medicine physicians and then surgeons and the rest, you're dealing with mixed research. You have to design your research in a way that it has a quantitative component and it has a qualitative component. This is possible. This is known as what? Mixed research or combined research. Another thing you need to know is, if you're working in a pharmaceutical organization, you're going to be doing more of what is known as clinical trials, power classification, cohort studies. Clinical trials are designed in such a way that you monitor the effect or impact and adverse effect of a new regimen as against no regimen at all, commonly known as placebo. If you are dealing with public health, as I know many of us are going to go into the public health sphere, Dama, that is where the money is. Many people are going to have to learn how to know what's known as epidemiological research. That is purely quantitative or qualitative. Little variations you need to also know about is in terms of referencing. The international standard for referencing in medicine is Vancouver referencing. However, many journals may tell you use other types of references based on their agreed international society of whatever they've agreed. So if family medicine physicians, I think they're under an organization known as WONCA, have agreed to use APA referencing system, you need to write your paper in that style. Understanding research will let you know that research is one. There are so many variations to research. So when you're dealing with peculiarities, like I said, it has to do with things like what type of research should you be carrying out? What is relevant in that field presently? Nobody should come and start researching on symptoms of COVID-19. We'll stone that person's shoe. We know the symptoms. We know that there are vaccines. Currently, there's arguments. Nobody should come and start talking of vaccine hesitancy and vaccine resistance or vaccine equity right now. All those things are no longer relevant now. You need to find out what is relevant in that field currently, and also how you can conduct that research where you are. Please, I would like to take questions now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, sir. That was a whole lot. And I believe all our participants have learned a lot, not just one or two things, but a lot. Thank you so much for your patience and for your guidance and for your thorough explanations. Thank you so much. You were very explicit. So now we'll be moving on to the question and answer section. So any one of us that has a question or questions can type in the chat section, or maybe you can just raise up your hand and then I'll allow you to ask your question verbally. So questions, anyone? You can just unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. You made mention of a difference in research for pathology, for family medicine, for internal medicine. You said some are qualitative, some are quantitative, and some are both, or something of that nature. Please, could you clarify?
Thank you so much. Now, I said something I was told to speak about also was peculiarities in research types. Yeah, peculiarities in research types to different fields. Something you need to understand is some fields have specific ways they want you to conduct their research. Family medicine really deals with quality of care. They boast about something known as wholesome care. So you don't go around and start just saying the prevalence of diabetes is this, the prevalence of that is that. Family medicine does not need that data. What family medicine will most likely want is what is the quality of care for diabetic patients? How does this care affect the first or second family? That's like qualitative research. When you are dealing with public health, for example, when you are dealing with public health, you now have to look at things like prevalence of COVID-19, stuff like that. So you're not dealing more of quantitative research. I mean, for God's sake, quantitative research was done every day by the Nigerian CDC during the COVID-19. Or was it every week? I think it was at the end of every week or at the end of every day, they'll publish. First, it was 1 COVID case found, 2 COVID cases found, 17 COVID cases found, and then went to 67 and stuff like that. So public health, more of quantitative, family medicine, more of qualitative. If you're in clinical practice, you are doing mixed research, both qualitative and quantitative. If you are in pharmaceutical companies, you are doing clinical trials or cohort studies and stuff like that. Also, clinical physicians and surgeons like doing case studies, like the example I gave. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We know you have to go very soon, but then can you please just help us with the 2 questions in the chat? Can you please help us answer them? Or should I just read them to you? Okay, I'll just go ahead and read them. The first one says, could you please explain the literature review? How do you do it? Is it via a Google search or there is a specific website?
Literature review. That's often seen as the most important part of the research. The first mistake a lot of people make is they do not understand that the first part of your literature review starts unofficially. What do I mean? You don't just carry your laptop and start carrying unnecessary papers or browsing unnecessary papers. First, you need to sit down and reason. What research am I conducting? What would be the inclusion criteria for this study as per literature review? So now we are looking at, like the example I was using, diabetes and children in Ikorodu. Your literature review has to do with diabetes and children, hereditary diabetes in children, congenital diabetes in children, or late onset diabetes in children. Now, if you are looking at research papers, first, when you go online, don't go to Google. Don't go to Google. Don't Google your symptoms and don't Google your papers. You can Google it, yeah, but there are things known as search engines. You have PubMed, you have Scopus, you have Academia, you have Medline, you have MedPlus, you have not MedPlus, you have Medline, you have ResearchGate. These are examples of research engines. So you just go to PubMed, just type in diabetes, children, hereditary, congenital, press search. It will bring out all the papers that have those things as keywords mentioned in them, or those things as their research titles. Then it's now left for you to filter the papers you need. One of the first things you need to use to filter is it will be unwise of you to work on researches or use research papers that were published more than 10 years ago. Some journals don't even want you to use researches that were published more than 5 years ago. So if you look at your search engines, you see where they write custom. Go to custom and click on 5 years or click on 10 years. It automatically sieve the unnecessary ones out. Then you now look through the different abstracts. If you browse on PubMed, it brings out abstracts. Then it now tell you, click here if you want the full paper. Look at the abstract. Is this abstract in line with the inclusion criteria for the papers you want to use? As you are doing that, just take note of the papers that you want to keep to heart. I gave an example of Zotero. I said you can click on those papers you want to take to heart and right click on upload to my Zotero. Zotero will keep that paper for you and also already help you reference it. If you're okay, let me not talk too much. Sorry, I don't have time. But yeah, you have search engines. Thank you so much. I really wish we started much earlier. There's so much I really want to share. But go on, please. Next question.
All right, sir. I'll move on to the next question now. And someone asked, I would like to ask for the name of the app you mentioned we can use in our literature review and for organizing our references.
Yeah. You have Zotero, Zotero. It is free. It is free. You can download it to your you can download it on your laptop. Now, what happens is when you download it on your laptop, it becomes a taskbar icon, or it just stays up there or down there. Now, when you see a research paper that is of interest to you, you just right click. Then when you right click, when the options come out, you now go to send. Then another column will open. On that other column, you see send to Zotero. Just click on send to Zotero. The first thing that will happen is a pop-up menu, right? Create a title for this. You can create diabetes in children, then send. Any other paper you send subsequently, you keep asking you, should you send it into that already created title? Then that way you can be doing that. That's a very simple way. Some people of recent used to make, currently now, people do what is known as AI written literature review. So they pay all these AI softwares to write literature reviews for them, and then they just go ahead to do the methodology, the discussion, and stuff. As easy as that sounds, if you are caught, especially if you did not mention it in your acknowledgement section, and if you mention it in your acknowledgement section, a lot of journals are going to reject your paper. So if you are caught and you are found out, a journal might ban you from publishing with them. It will be known as plagiarism or something. So, and there are ways of catching people. If you've heard of Originality AI, originality.ai, you just simply take any research paper you see online, upload it into originality.ai, and it's going to tell you whether this was AI generated or not. So be very careful when doing your literature review. Your literature review can become very interesting when you streamline the papers you want to work with, specifically to the amount you need and to the ones that are relevant. A research is not deemed worthy based on the fact that you have 50 references or 100 references. In fact, if you have more than 15 references or 10 references, if you have more than 5 references on some types of on short communication, many journals will reject your short communication, like International Journal of Medical Students, IJMS. If you have more than 10 or 15 references on quantitative or qualitative research, they will reject your publication. So always streamline it to what you need so that when you just read through it, you have like the round idea. Then you can use the funnel system. What is it globally? What is it in Africa? What is it in West Africa? What is it in Nigeria? What is it in East Africa? What is it in Kenya? Things like that. Sorry, I'm talking too much. Next question.
All right,
please.
the next one says, what is the difference between problem statement and justification or rationale?
Yeah. Now, the problem statement, normally you only have to start writing problem statement and justification in one paper when you are dealing with projects. A justification is more like stating a hypothesis of your problem statement. An example, I gave 3 problem statements that the relationship between diabetes in children. We're looking at parents with diabetes having children born with diabetes. Children born with diabetes having siblings who already have diabetes. Children born with diabetes being born with diabetes and it being related to their nutrition. The justification to know if the type of nutrition given a child will cause him or her to have diabetes. Justification number 2, to know the probability of a parent with diabetes giving the diabetes to the child congenitally, or if it will be a hereditary thing later in life. Justification number 3, to know if there's a direct correlation between siblings with diabetes having more siblings being born with diabetes. I don't know if you understand. So justification is now like emphasizing the need for the knowledge. So by this, my research is justified. But the problem statement, the problem I've noticed is a lot of children have diabetes. So the problem is there is a problem. I found out that some of these children have parents that have diabetes. Some of them have siblings that have diabetes. Some of them were born with it. Some of them is their nutrition. I'm going to research into these problems. Then my justification is the need for that research, the need for that knowledge, to know, to confirm, to affirm. You use terminologies like that in your justification. In your objective, you can state about 3, 4, 5 objectives. And normally your objectives are just almost a repetition of your justification. However, you can state like to understand the prevalence, to understand the incidence, to get a better perspective into congenital diabetes. Those can be your objectives. Then your aim is now a single sentence. All these unnecessary things are things you see in research projects when you are in master's level or PhD level research. Most undergraduate research, they are not really killing people about these things. So your aim is just a single sentence. Your objective can be 3, 4, 5 sentences. Your justification is the need for the knowledge in your problem statement. So your problem statements are the parameters, problematic parameters on which you want to research into the general problem, which is an increase in the incidence of diabetes in children. I hope I have not too confused you. Sorry, who asked the question, please? Just unmute yourself, please. Who asked that question?
Good evening, sir. I was going to ask the question. Sir, I can't hear you.
Hello, sorry, my mic was muted. Sorry, no vex. I was saying, tell me if I've done justice to your question, or if
Yes,
there are
sir,
other things you want to
I
clarify.
understand you perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My time is okay. I can push for 5 more minutes. Then I'll have to go, please.
All right. So we make it very snappy then. So the next one says, hello, can I go on? Okay. Hello, sir. Can I go on?
Go on, please.
All right. The next one says, I didn't very well catch what is short communication or editorial.
Yes, I think I saw that question when it popped up. Short
All right.
communications, editorial. Now, short communication can be, you have noticed, a lot of Africans write short communications now. Now, I know when COVID-19 came, at that time there was it in earthquake was happening somewhere in Africa or something like that. Someone now wrote a brief paper titled "The Challenges Faced with Dealing with COVID-19 in the Midst of Natural Disasters in North Africa or East Africa," something like that. Let's say there was an earthquake in Kaduna, and then there was Lassa fever there. You will now say challenges faced with combating Lassa fever amid the recent earthquake in Kaduna, a short review and recommendations. So you can just look at my maybe say 5 research papers. Now, first thing is you don't really need to reference everything in your short communication. So you are a Nigerian and you're writing about an earthquake that happened in Kaduna. So you just be like, um, prior to now, at the onset of this year, COVID-19 got into Nigeria. We've been dealing with it. We've recorded so mortality. We've recorded this amount of morbidity. However, an earthquake happened that destroyed about 3 hospitals in Kaduna local government. The challenges this has posed has to do with health. So the research papers we are going to reference in this short communication are things like when COVID-19 entered Nigeria, challenges dealing with COVID-19 in Nigeria. My throat is paining me. This one I'm shouting over these voices. The research papers you are going to reference are things like challenge faced dealing with COVID-19 in Kaduna. When the earthquake happened in Kaduna, anybody that published a research paper on it, and any other thing that has to do with COVID-19 or earthquake in Kaduna, just about 5 of them. Your aim is trying to tell the world that, hey, this problem occurred, and then there's a relation between natural disaster and health. You can hereby use these following recommendations to improve things: intersectoral collaboration, healthcare strengthening, and stuff like that. That is how short communication works. For editorial, is a letter to the editor. It's usually the same volume of words as a short communication, or about 5 references. But usually a letter to the editor concerning a specific topic or concerning a specific paper that was published in that journal. If someone published a research paper that showed that everybody that breaks his left femur in Nigeria is going to die, and they published it, you can now write an editorial challenging that paper and citing 3 or 4 or 5 other researches that were published in Nigeria about left femur that did not reach that conclusion. That is how editorial works. Editorial is usually a letter to the editor on a specific topic or a specific paper. Usually it starts with "Dear Editor," then the title. But short communication is like challenges battling COVID-19 amidst the earthquake crisis in Kaduna State, a review and recommendation. That's different between short communication and editorial. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Can I just take some couple of questions more?
Just one, please. Ejo.
One.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
let me just take this one. This one says, kindly remind me the name of the app used. I think you said that in the literature
I've said
review.
that. Next question.
And referencing style.
Zotero.
What about the referencing style, sir? For the clinical and medical research.
The
referencing style.
Oh, I said there are different types of referencing style. Generally, we use Vancouver referencing. Vancouver is the one that has to do with a superscript. So you write, when you write a particular sentence or clause or idea, on the superscript, you write 1 or 2 or 3 based on when it's coming into the research. If it's the first reference, is 1. If it's the second reference, is 2. Then when you go down to the end of the paper, number 1 will now be that reference specifically. Number two will be the second reference. So anybody that now sees, oh, he got this perspective that Nigerians cannot go to hell when they die from a particular research, he will now scroll down to see that particular research. Do you understand? That is Vancouver. However, you have things like APA, you have things like Harvard referencing, you have other referencing styles. APA, for example, is one that after the sentence, instead of writing a number off, it open a bracket and write something like Otobo et al. 2022. If it's only me that read the paper, they'll just write October 2022. If it's two or more people, it's just the first researcher et al. Francais for and others. To comprehend. Oh, sorry, please, do you understand? That's the whole upper referencing system. Next question, please.
All right, sir. This one says, regarding carrying out a clinical research that would have both quantitative and qualitative research, can I also use a questionnaire for the qualitative aspect, or it must be focused interviews?
No. You see, there's wisdom in that question. The person that asked that question, in fact, send me your account number yesterday. Now, something you need to understand is your questionnaire can be designed to work wonders. There are tools for obtaining research data. One of the tools for obtaining research data commonly used is known as focus group discussion, FGD. Normally, people rely on focus group discussion to get qualitative data. But I'm telling you, you can actually use a questionnaire if you are wise to get qualitative data. Quality of care. You can make a questionnaire and then your option is going to be, my wound is dressed with povidone iodine, crepe bandage, and plaster. My wound is dressed with just povidone iodine. My wound is dressed with just spirit and cotton wool. My wound is not dressed at all. This is quality of care. Now, when you are now writing, when you've conducted this research, do you understand? When you are now discussing, these options are not nominal. Nominal is like they are not numbered. They are not yes or no. They are not black and white. They have to do with statements. So you can extract the quality from there. Do you understand? Whoever asked that question, that's a very wise question. I've conducted qualitative researches that I used focus group discussion. I've conducted qualitative researches that I used questionnaire. If you are able to speak for them, if you go to a diabetic foot clinic where their foot have problems, is decaying and stuff, you want to research into the quality of diabetic foot. Your options are things that the patient wants to say. How is my wound dressed? How do I feel when they are dressing my wound? Do I feel satisfied with the care, or is the painkiller effective in improving the wound outcome? When they use honey in dressing my wound, do I feel this wound gets better? Does the touch sensation and prick sensation come back? Those are things you want to ask. So in this qualitative research, you can clearly articulate the quality of care by the use of a questionnaire. But in class, normally, they'll tell you focus group discussion is usually from interviews and things like that. Yes, when you make this research, you give the respondents the questionnaire, and then you can discuss with the person. The person says, I don't feel satisfied with the quality of care I receive. You can tell the person, oh, yeah, mark this other side, or you hold the questionnaire, you just mark it. Based on the interview, you just be marking it for them. Do you understand? Or if you are dealing with a large number of people, like 50 or 100, 200 people, you can put them in groups of 50, share it for them, briefly have a short health education with them. You can use a PowerPoint presentation to show them how. Oh, okay, the person is clear. The person is clear. Thank you. Next, I can't take any further questions, please. I'm already 5 minutes late for a meeting.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time, giving us much time. We really appreciate it, sir. So do enjoy your evening,
most
sir.
welcome. Thank you, and you too. I really wish I could stay longer. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Yeah, likewise, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right,
it was
sir.
a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome, sir. The pleasure is all ours, sir. All right, bye, sir. All right, everyone. I hope everybody here has learned a lot. Please, if anyone still has any questions for him, we will try and look for a way to get it across to him, and maybe he answers, and then we can get back to you. So because he has already used up all his time, he even gave us extra time for the question aspect. So right now we'll be going to the breakout session. So just for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. Please kindly join through the link above. We are going to be playing a card game just for in the next 3 minutes. So I will send the link to the group now, to the chat box now. Check the chat box. I've sent the link there. So click on it and copy the password on the screen, on your screen, and paste it there.
Sorry, I don't see the link, please.
The link is in the chat box. Please check.
Please, I didn't hear what you said the link is for.
I said we will be playing a card game for the next 3 minutes. So there is a link in the chat box. So click on the link, and then you see a code, passcode on your screen. Then copy the screen, paste it there, then join.
No, brother, we can see the link.
Sorry, sir, the link you sent is not a link. Like, I don't know how it's.
Yeah, you should just copy and paste it. No, I advise you so that you just copy and paste the link. Don't write as a message.
I love you for your better from the moment I'm away. I will never, oh, I will think of the goodness of faithful. All you have been so, so with every breath that I take for of the goodness of God. I just you said you should have God.
I saw the people are just in the game, but I don't see the link, bro.
Okay, guys, we'll be starting very soon. In the next 2 minutes max, please.
Umar, what you can do is that, if you have turbulence, you can actually short
At the
the
end
turbulence to
of
copy
the day,
then paste it into your
happy I
website
know
or
when you really want
your web
to show.
browser.
You're happy I know. If you're happy I know, you really want to show.
I think the player link was missing. So some of us were kicked out.
Mashallah. Dancing on
Please, if you have your mic on, please kindly mute. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Please, can you mute your mics? Everyone that has their mics on, please, so that we can hear each other.
Oh, come on.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll be moving on to the next speaker, Dr. Hala Hamdan. So she will be taking the topic research design and methodology. So I hope we all have not forgotten the assessment part. So please let us listen attentively and let's get our questions ready by typing them in the chat box. All right. Before I call on Dr. Hala Hamdan, I would like to read out our bio. So here it goes. Dr. Hala Hamdan is a medical doctor, a neurological surgery resident at Oregon Health and Science University, USA, and a clinical research fellow at Cancer Research Center at Tischren University. She had a diploma in biostatistical programming and she's GCP certified. She founded Hamdan's Research Lab, where she and her team provide services regarding medical writing, statistical analysis, and research consultations.
Aisha.
So with this, I welcome you, Dr. Hala Hamdan, to the floor. Ma, please, you can go on. Okay, she'll be with us shortly. So let's just be patient with her. She's fixing her mic.
The first time you were on WhatsApp, then you were on I don't know, social media.
So how long?
It was more than 10 minutes. When you were the time before
Good evening. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, we can, ma.
Okay, I will be sharing my screen. Okay, it says that you are not allowing the share screen option. Yeah, don't worry. No.
So you can use your
Well, it's like I cannot share my screen.
Ma, please go on. We'll fix that soon.
Please, can one of the hosts enable the idea of me sharing my screen?
there.
Ma, please go on with the presentation. We'll make
Well,
sure
I can't share
it
my
is fixed.
screen.
Was
Colleagues, please, colleagues who are hosting this training, can anyone just give me the ability to share my screen, because it keeps giving me the alert that I cannot.
I don't really get that, but I think the host, they should make the speaker, like they should make the speaker a host. Then I think the pop-up for sharing things to come up.
yeah, one point like you were on your phone, the first time you came, well, in the phone, ask you to call this, you were like, you talk to me, have you forgot that phone? You told me that. The time I was saying something to me about this. How long? Because I was telling you to come to meet me, but afterwards bringing like things like you cannot because you feel like you want to be treated the way you like treated, but not
Sorry, I'm
you
very sorry for this
made
technical issue. I'm really, really finding it difficult. So I don't know, maybe it's my phone or something. I'm very sorry. I'm looking into it right now.
How? To me. Okay, first of all, you were thinking about it so many times, not once. And yes, as I would tell you, I don't have this thing that you still
Sorry for the technical issue. On with the webinar now. You can share your screen now, man.
Okay, let me try. Okay, just 1 second. Well, I'm still unable to share my screen. Do you prefer me to send the PowerPoint maybe to you, to one of the hosts?
Yeah, yes, you can do that.
Okay. Let's see, I will send it to Dr. Osman, maybe. So one of the organizers just will help me switching slides. Okay, 1 second.
Okay, I think you can share your screen now. I made the wrong person a host. Probably you can share your screen now. Try it now. It should work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, 1 second.
I guess you joined with two
Well,
phones.
can
Probably I made the
you
other one.
see it? Can you see my screen? Okay, let's see this one.
Hello, can you share your screen now?
Let me check
Probably there's an issue with your network. We can't hear anything from you. Please, can you hear me clearly? Other participants?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we
All right,
can.
probably. I think there is a problem with our network. Let's just calm down and wait for her to fix it up.
Just
All right, probably you should send your slides to
give
my DM, and we can't hear you actually. We can't hear you at all. Probably your network is not that good. So you should send your slides to my DM so that I can share my own screen. So you just deliver from there. You present your slides from there. I think you trying to share your screen and also the video and recordings, everything is interrupting the network also.
giving me an option to share my PowerPoint.
Because we can't hear anything from you. Or can any other participant hear anything from her? Please let me know. It might be my network that is not good. So let me hear from other participants.
We can't hear anything.
No, we
Okay,
can't hear anything.
you can hear me clearly, but you can't hear her clearly, right? So that's not my
Yes.
network. All right, thank you.
Yes.
I just want to confirm.
Well, the the presentation. Well, I'm supposed to
What a way to build up with a picture like this. Makes good run.
Second. Okay. That, can you see this screen right?
I think we've not been able to sort these out. Let's see. Yeah, she have a poor network reception, I guess.
Himself. By losing, and that was absolutely just the teacher showing quality.
Please, can anyone confirm if you can see my
We can hear you, but we can't see your screen. Probably you should send it to my WhatsApp.
presentation?
Ma, we can't hear you at all.
Can you see the presentation? Okay, why is that? Is there anyone else who is sharing screen with me? Well, right now, can you see it? Well, it's okay.
Ma'am, we
One
can't see
second.
your screen yet. We can't see it
Can you
yet.
see the presentation
Okay, one second. I will
right
share
now?
this to Dr. Usman, and he maybe can share it.
Okay, I think that's better.
Okay, just a second.
Okay, I will share the entire screen because it seems that the PowerPoint is not appearing anyone. Can you
I know most instance, if you are a reasonable woman, you will keep to yourself. You know, that is what I'm talking. Is that your baba? You
Please, we are very sorry for the delay. This training session for today was meant to end by 6 p.m., but due to some network issues and technicalities from both our end and our speakers' end, we have to wait till it gets sorted out. I'm very sorry about that. And also, subsequent training session, please let's try as much as possible to join before the time so that we can get ready for the speaker, and then we have it immediately by 4 p.m. GMT plus one daily so that we can end quickly.
Please, everyone, we are very, very sorry for everything. Like for all these network issues, we are very sorry. Please just be patient. Hold on a bit.
Okay, the presentation was sent to Osman. To start once it's shared on the screen.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen now. It won't really take much of your time because we've passed our schedule for today. So please, everyone, we're going to start I'm going to share it now.
Okay, shall we start? Well, everybody can hear me, right? So we can start.
Yes, we can start now.
Okay, amazing. Sorry for these technical issues. I'll be in myself as I am also going to say thank you for the lovely introduction. I am Ala Hamdan and I am neurologic surgery resident and clinical researcher at the Cancer Research Center at my university. I'm also a statistical R programmer and I am GCP certified, which is something regarding working in pharmaceuticals, industrial, not academics only. So today I will be talking about clinical research and methodologies and designs. We usually tend to explain why clinical research is something very important. This is something we already established. However, I would be only mentioning a few points regarding the importance of clinical research. First of all, the most important thing for us as academics is that we develop knowledge that will maximize the effectiveness of our clinical practice. Another thing is very important, especially in low and middle income countries, is the economic aspect. The economic challenges and producing better treatment options that costs maybe less and give us the same effectiveness of the much expensive competitors is a good thing. And there is a global health enhancement aspect also, as now it is very trendy, as you see, global surgery, global health and public health sectors is very trendy, and research in low middle income countries extremely important, and comparing the outcomes with the high income countries would be valuable to us to understand various areas and maybe prevent pandemics such as the one that affected us recently the COVID-19. So without further to say, let's go into types of research. Well, we generally do classify clinical research depending on the source of the data, the targeted population, and the methodologies. However, if we look at that into details, we would find that primary research and secondary research is something to compare about. First of all, original data and that appears for the first time in the medical literature is what we call the primary research, and it is something that costs a lot and more time is required to do this type of research. On the other hand, secondary research is something that
Man, we can't hear.
so
Or is it
the other
my?
is that we can classify the research types according to the target population. We have two types here, the basic and the clinical research. The basic research is the foundation that we build on. It includes studies on cells, cultures, tissues, and maybe animals. And we do that especially in labs, which is something expensive to prepare a lab and equip it well. And the clinical research is something that we build on, something we we take the information, the hypothesis from the labs, the basic research, and we implement that on humans, and we see if we have consistent results, and we go further with the drug maybe, or we stop using it for humans. Another thing is that patients in the health facilities is the ones being studied. Those are the targeted populations. The other thing is that it helps directly in the health decisions, clinical research. However, basic research is, let's say, far from being used in clinical aspects directly. We have something that links between the basic lab research and the clinical research, and it is called the translational research. What is a translational research? It is mainly separated into two types, let's say. One of them is being bench to bedside. It's called bench to bedside because we are taking the research, as we see here, from the basic aspect in the lab into the clinical settings. And the second one is called the bench to practice. If you are reading in any textbook, you would see these terminologies: the bench to bedside, and bench to practice. Bench to practice means that we are using or transmitting those information that we get from the clinical experiments, and we take it into guidelines that should be implemented in health practice. Okay, can we move the slides, please? I would use the term next slide to switch slides.
Don't press anything.
Can we switch the slides?
Please, can you see the screen?
Yes, you are sharing the screen. Yes.
Yeah. So this woman.
All right. I think we've taken much of your time. So we are still going back and forth. You are unable to like get the everything straight. So we are going to postpone this particular session till tomorrow.
Okay, everyone.
It's not something we have control over, so we are very, very, very sorry about everything. We didn't go as planned, but tomorrow I think we hope things will be better. So everyone, please bear with us.
We are going to try our best not to make this happen, not to let it happen again. So see you guys tomorrow. And the time will be communicated for this particular session. The time will be communicated again tomorrow, along with those ones already scheduled for tomorrow. So please bear with us. All right. Thank you very much and have a wonderful night.
ما هو منطقي حبيبتي انت ضيعتي لي وقتي